So it's like in biology class when you hear about evolution and you get told every species on this planet has evolved over time in order to fit a certain ecological niche. Now that niche may be small or it may be large, but every animal, being, creature on this earth has a place. And it takes time in order for it to reach that place and to fit that niche. So back in high school, I'm like, duh, of course, how else would birds fly? How else would fish swim? They had to evolve. Child's play. Done. But I think only now have I truly realized how ridiculous the concept of evolution is. And I don't mean like it's not unfounded or any way. I mean it's mind-blowing to me how nature has just brute forced such methods of I can't even fathom any of it, the time scale, millions of years. You can't even imagine, personally at the very least, I can't even imagine 100,000 years, hell, 100,000 of anything. I can't judge. Look, at first glance, I can't judge a certain number over 5. If you gave me 7 items, you said count these items in half a second, I'd be like, dude, I don't know, I'd guess, right? So humans can only judge groups of items accurately at 4. And past that, you kind of have to compute a little bit and add it up, right? So we're not built to imagine things of this scale. 1,000, okay, yeah, 10 to the third, cool. 10,000, 10 to the fourth, I got it. But the realistic scale of 1,000 years, I don't even know, okay? And I like to think I'm on top of things, right? So first off, time scale. Unimaginable. But at the same time, it has to be on that time scale because some of the solutions that nature comes up with to tackle these common problems, right? It's there's no other way it could get done. It's what does life do? Okay, right? So what? Life reproduces, makes more life. Cool, makes sense, awesome. And life keeps homeostasis, that sort of thing, right? Maintain order within, and whatever happening outside doesn't matter. Just make sure everything on the inside is going good. So it's okay, eating, that's pretty simple. You put the food in your mouth regardless of what the food is, and the food moves. Well, too bad, boy. You got to go up and go get it. So it's okay, the simple problem of find food A, put food A in mouth, and the breath take care of itself. But the way nature fixes this problem or handles this problem is just insane. It's when I want to eat, which is about 3 times a day on a good day, I'll go and cook something or whatever, or I'll go eat cereal if I'm lazy, or I might even go out and eat something and have someone else cook something for me. And sometimes I'm feeling real lazy, and that walk or that drive or that whatever feels real I don't want to do this, ugh, right? Because I'm lazy. So then you look at nature, right? And it's well, okay. Let's say my favorite example personally, as of right now at the very least, is the peregrine falcon, right? So this thing eats small birds. And it's well, okay, birds fly, but I fly. So therefore, in order for me to catch those flying things, I need to fly faster, right? And maybe surprise them, because flying things are kind of hard to catch. And I don't want to waste more energy trying to catch you than I'm going to get from eating you. So, it's a delicate balance. So what does the kestrel do? Well, the kestrel is currently known to be has been clocked at going the fastest known speed, for any animal. It's okay, well, how fast does it go? Cheetahs go pretty fast, right? 75 miles per hour or whatever is not, that's nothing to whatever, you know what I mean? That's not slow. Okay, that's pretty quick. And yet the kestrel goes 200 miles an hour. And it's well, damn, okay, shit. How does a bird go 200 miles an hour? That's kind of scary almost. It's it's real easy, The the kestrel, I've been saying the kestrel, I've been getting mixed up. You know what I mean, peregrine falcon. The peregrine falcon will fly up real high, and once it spots a prey bird beneath it, it does the obvious logical thing and dive bombs it falling at 200 miles per hour and snapping its prey's neck immediately upon impact. Because how else would you do it? And it's like, like, shit, that's freaking terrifying. Look, how often do you have to like go? How often do you do that? That's suicidal almost. And it's like, like every time I get kind of hungry, that's like, like what else would you do? That's how I eat. Like, holy shit. What? You're telling me that every time I want to eat, I have to fly, which would be pretty cool, I have to admit. But then, like after achieving a certain height, my next course of action would be to look for something to eat flying beneath me, and then say, I want that, let's go grab it. Dive bomb at somewhere between 200 and 250 miles an hour, and then snap its neck and be like, yeah, cool, job's done. Like, I gotta do this like 3 more times a day or something. Like, holy shit, that's ridiculous. And yet it does this day in and day out, and it's been doing this for freaking forever. Okay, well, obviously not forever, you know what I mean, but like a shit ass long amount of time. And it's just like, that's what the peregrine falcon does. Like, dogs bark, cows moo, and the peregrine falcon snaps things' necks at 200 miles an hour. Like, what the hell? I can't believe that's so cool, but at the same time, it's ridiculous. And it's like at the opposite end of the spectrum, like, okay, let's reproduce, make more of me and make sure my genes are passed on so they survive. Okay, great. That's how survival of the fittest, or, survival of the good enough works. And it's like, well, the problem is a lot of times your babies are really easy, which ties into the whole eating thing. Because, like, look, if I was a peregrine falcon and I had to freaking dive bomb at 200 miles per hour, I'd rather just, like, pick up a baby and eat it, right? Okay, that sounds real bad, but, like, that's the situation. Like, either I chase you or eat the kid. Like, come on. It's a no-brainer. So it's like, well, how do you protect your kids? That's real difficult sometimes, So it's like, okay, birds will nest. Okay, that's good. Typically in high places, so that sometimes, land-based creatures can't eat them, like cats or rats or, I don't know, tiny mammals, because they're real good at that. So the barnacle goose is like, got you. A lot of bad shit down here. Let's go up high. And then instead, you know what it does? It makes its nest at the top of a 400-foot cliff. Because, the tree wasn't high enough. Next logical step, tree's not good enough, 400-foot cliff, awesome, let's go. So it goes all the way up there. Now the tiny problem with that is that there's no food up there. So that kind of sucks. And something you have to do a lot is feed your babies, right? Like, if you're making all this effort to make sure the baby doesn't get eaten, it's it's a good idea to make sure it doesn't starve to death. Now, back to the problem of there's no food on this giant freaking ass cliff. So the babies hatch, right? And they're like a day or two old. And it's like, well, look, it's a lot of effort to feed this baby. This chick, this little like gosling, I can't do it. So what do? They're like, oh, let's go to the feeding area or whatever, where they can eat grass, because geese eat grass like all the other birds. But you have a problem is geese, like the adults, can fly. Goslings, like the chicks, cannot. So how do you rectify this issue? The parents say, hey kids, let's go, I'm hungry, and then they fly away. They fly away and they go to the bottom of the cliff and they're like, oh no, it's cool, just jump. And the chicks are genetically like, god damn it, I gotta follow the parents, right? So your mom and your dad just up and jump off this cliff, fly down to the bottom. Okay, cool. You're a day old, right? Look, if I'm sleeping and I'm about to fall like a foot, I freak out, right? Like sleeping, can't fall like 6 inches, whatever. That doesn't work for me. Awake, I'll maybe jump like, 5 feet. I'm not good at estimating things, but 5 feet sounds reasonable. So this chick is up there, and it's like, so I hear my parents and they're down there, and my instincts are telling me to follow the parents. So they waddle over to the edge of the cliff and they're like, oh, okay, that's kind of scary. Like 400 feet is, I agree, semi-intimidating, especially if I was a 2-day-old gosling chick, geese, goose thing, you know what I mean? So somewhere in the span of 30 to half a day it takes. And after that time span, they've convinced themselves, like, oh, God damn it. I gotta follow them. So what does the baby goose do? It jumps off the cliff. It freaking jumps off the cliff and falls 400 feet. Cause why not? You know, you'd think there'd be a better solution than building your freaking nest 400 feet in the air. But no, every generation of barnacle goose has done this, and they'll keep doing it because it works. It's good enough. And these geese will plummet 400 feet down these sheer rock faces. And it's like, why? Why do you do this? And it's like, because I don't want to get eaten. And I'm like, well, that's a good ass reason, but this seems a bit extreme. It's like, oh geez, I just cannot imagine the process it took for geese to realize, this area is not safe enough. What if I moved on top of that 400 tall stone pillar and see what happens up there? And it worked. It worked. And enough of them survived that the next generation was like, I was raised on a rock pillar and I'm a good conservative goose. And obviously it works. So I'm going to go up there and raise my goslings up there. And they freaking just jump off as if it's nothing. And it's like, what the frick? How can you do this? And they literally have video of these poor little goslings just plummeting to the earth. And now, okay, look, physics-wise, they're light, so terminal velocity isn't that big. They're pretty small, so falling itself isn't too terrible relative a human falling or a whale falling, right? So they got physics on their side, and they're all spread eagle and whatnot, and be like, okay, I'll slow myself down as possible, but holy shit, they're 2 days old, and the first thing they do is jump off a 400-foot cliff because their mom told them to do it. And that's how nature works. And that's how nature works. And it's just like, okay, I guess if that's how you want to roll, then go for it. It's just insane. And I mean, honestly, thinking about it, it's kind of ridiculous to think that humans have come this far. And we've come pretty damn far, I must admit. Good. Number one, don't be in the food chain. Real glad about that, because getting eaten does not look pleasant in any way, shape, or form. I'm out. Thank God for that. But people look, humans are crazy with what we can do. The rest of nature just as insane. I can't even fathom sometimes how normal it is for these creatures to live in this way. There's a species of fish that only lives in cave waterfalls. Of course. Nothing tells me that I should be living somewhere. Okay, look, waterfronts, real nice. Waterfalls, even better. So, if I was a fish, the obvious place I'd want to live is hanging onto a wet rock face in a waterfall. What? I don't even understand how that works. What fish magically climbed it? Well, obviously not all at once, right? But what process led these fish, or whatever they started as, to settle into this rock face in this freaking cave with cold ass water flowing over them and be like, this is good. I like this. I can stay here. And over time, lo and behold, they don't have eyes. They're real white and pale because there's no sunlight, and they're just sitting in this cave waterfall and just chilling. And that's their life. And it's you know what? People have existential crises of oh shit, what do I do with my life? And you have these freaking fish spending their entire life in a goddamn waterfall. So I mean, can't be all that bad. Being human, not bad at all. I'll take it.